G'day, welcome to this tutorial. In this one, I'm going to show you how I made the bass line and the percussion for the 8th bass line in the recent Kickdrum sample pack promo. According to the poll that I'm running on my Patreon page at the moment, this is the most popular bass line. I'm going to approach this tutorial in a reverse engineering style. So looking at the bass line, we're actually using Current, a new synthesizer, and the processing chain ends with this EQ, and that mainly, other than a simple low cut, it's reducing the stereo information in the side channel from the synth below 230 Hertz and a little bit in the mid-range here as well. So if I was to turn these off, you'll hear a lot more stereo image. And that stereo image is also being enhanced by the saturation from Saturn II. This whole band is in mid-side mode with the pan all the way to the side, and the old tape saturation algorithm is driven at 100%. The mix is 80%, and this is quite a subtle enhancement to the stereo. Before the Saturn is a mid-side split device from Bitwig, and on the side channel, which has got a gain boost of 2 decibels, there's a very subtle amount of saturation from Shine Chiller, really awesome saturation plugin that I often use on bass lines. Also, along with the blur device from Bitwig, affecting the sides, affecting the stereo image slightly. Switching that off and back on again, you can hear the difference. We'll minimize that. We'll switch off the EQ, Saturn, and the mid-side split, and then just focus on Current. We're using the sub/sampler part of the synth. We're not using the sampler, just using the sub. Now this sub oscillator is an additive oscillator, and it's providing us with the mono fundamental, which is represented here, and it's also providing us with some harmonics using 5 partials. So if we reduce that to just the fundamental, it sounds more like that. And you can increase this right up to 7 or 8 partials, but 5 is what I chose for this one. There is some detune at 56%, which applies a stereo detune to the partials, these harmonics. So if we look at the EQ spectrum analyzer, switch off those. Without the partials, you'll see it's mainly just a fundamental with a couple of overtones. But we turn the partials back up, we get these extra harmonics. You can change how these harmonics are affecting the overall tone, and you can do that by the spectrum mode. There's a few different modes. Tilt is the one I've chosen, and then I've given that spectra a tilt of minus 44. The drive type I've chosen is soft. That's what it sounds like without any drive. That drive amount is being modulated by envelope 2. You'll see if I turn the level down of this, changes the sound a little bit. This modulation curve is adding a kind of saturation transient to the start of each MIDI note. Envelope 1 is assigned to the fine tuning. You can turn down the level of that too, and you'll notice the effect it's having on the pitch. Envelope 1 is the amplitude envelope by default, and the attack curve is at -8%. If I change that, you'll notice that it very subtly changes the first 128th division of each note. This amp envelope is set to 1/16th. But that's sort of just ducking the initial part of the bass note out of the way for the kick drum transient, to make space for the kick drum transient. And that's really all there is to this bass sound. I think the additive sub oscillator for this new synth current is quite cool, really suitable for this style of bass line. Let's turn back on the processing chain. And control side information of the bass overtones. And we're back to how we started. Now the percussion is very simple. I'm using Native Instruments battery, and this castanet sample is probably the most important aspect of this groove, as it's doing an accent every 3rd 16th note. Without that, it's just a really simple straight 8th kind of rock beat. Little bit of a syncopated clap there. Super minimal, pretty appropriate for the style I was going for. And that's it for this tutorial. Not a lot to it, but you guys asked for a tutorial specifically on this bass line from the Kickdrum promo video. I'm looking forward to see which one you vote for next, and I hope to see you in that tutorial too. Cheers.